Up next, we have Ethan Holcomb speaking on behalf of the TGI Network.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank those who helped pull this event together today on such short notice, and I want to thank all of you for being here today. It's really easy to get fatigued when it feels like there's an endless list of things to fight against, but it really means something to show up, so thank you. My name is Ethan Holcomb, and I'm the board president of TGI Network of Rhode Island. TGI Network is a non-profit here in Rhode Island that provides support to the trans, gender non-conforming, and intersex communities through advocacy, support groups, and social events. I am a queer transgender man. I'm also a husband, father, teacher, and activist. And though I likely would have been an activist no matter my gender identity or sexuality, these things have made me an activist by necessity. I was first eligible to vote in the 2000 election, so that's when I became cognitively aware of the ways identity and politics coincide. At the time, I'm sure you remember, the Bush campaign made gay marriage a key election issue in order to bring the bigots to the polls in greater numbers. Politics were surprisingly personal to me, and through the years, politics have felt incredibly painful at times. It was political when people policed my body. It was political when they pried into my sexuality through lurid curiosity. And it was political when I was subjected to the violence of people who just could not fathom my humanity. Like many of you, I have family that supported the Bush presidency, that support this president. Many of them love me. And they even professed to support my gender identity. The political and the personal constantly intersect. Those family members attempted to quiet my worry by assuring me Trump doesn't hate LGBT people. He doesn't care about that. That's what they said. And to them it was reassuring. To them it was a win for the LGBT community, a win for trans people, if a politician simply did not care. Now, I could argue that a lot of them care. But it really begs the question, if Trump doesn't care, do you? You know, I grew up with a lot of privilege. My parents owned our home. We lived in a small town where little seemed to happen, and the police seemed like a benevolent presence. It took a lot of dismantling to recognize that the system that you see is not the system everyone experiences, and that changing the system requires a lot of care. I've spent the last 17 years caring about marriage equality, yes, but about access to health care, and about workers' rights, and about racial justice, and about voting rights, and this list goes on. And so much of these fights feel wrapped up in this one moment. Trump calls for a ban of trans people in the military, and I see the right of trans people to exist more broadly being threatened. He calls us a burden and calls into question our ability to contribute to society. That isn't simply a matter of military service, it is a matter of our humanity. We have had to fight for access to basic health care, and a great deal of that fight has been about making it clear that we are worthy, that there is value in saving our lives. And here Trump shows that he sees trans lives as expendable. I hear that echo through our online comments. He doesn't really care about trans people, it's just politics. Yeah, Trump wants to fund his wall. He needs his defense budget. He wants to distract from healthcare. All true. He does not care. But not caring means people will die. So we have to care. We have to turn up. We have to make the calls. We have to put our bodies on the line whenever we can. Because if we do not care, no one will. We have to make sure that trans people have access to health care, to work, to safe homes, to be safe on our streets. We need to care. Or we will keep seeing Black trans women killed. We will keep seeing incarcerated trans people in solitary confinement for their safety. Trans people will continue to risk losing our jobs and our well-being simply for existing as trans in a world that sees us as a burden. We have to care. But caring is hard. Caring can be dangerous, it can be expensive, and it is tiring. It's life and death. So you came out here today. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming here today. But being an ally to trans people also means showing up with the people who do not care. Make them care. You know your family and friends. You know your Uncle Joe more than I do, so share stories with Uncle Joe. I don't want to fight with Uncle Joe on Facebook. I don't want to have to step in there and tell him, hey, I actually am a real person with a right to exist, because he does not care about me, but he cares about you. You have to do the emotional labor. That's what allies do. And if you have money to give, there are people, there are organizations that need your support. So support the Providence Youth Student Movement. Prison needs your help. Support Project Weber Renew. They're doing the work in the streets that we need done. Support Youth Pride. I know they're there. They've been there for a lot of people here, I'm sure. Support them. And sure, support TGI Network. We're doing work we need done too. Okay? If you don't know any of those organizations, or if you're looking for other ways to help, talk to me. I'll point you in those directions. Talk to other people here, the other speakers. Get involved. We need your time and your energy, if not your money, that's okay. But we need people, okay? So thank you for being here. Thank you to the people who put this together. And keep up the good work. Woo!
Thank you, Ethan, for offering your truth, for all the work you do for TGI, and for also coming out here today and showing us that trans rights are so much more complex than one single issue.